Oh boy, do I have something fun. So this right here might just look like a standard beige old PC from the probably like 90s or whatever, but no, this is actually more or less a Mac clone, but it's kind of an obscure one and one that I can't seem to find a lot of information on. This is the Radius 8110. Why is it called this? Well, from what I can find, it's a clone of the Power Macintosh 8100, so hence the 81, and the processor runs at 110 megahertz. So real creative names. So let's take a closer look. We've got a old school CD-ROM drive with just a pass-through button here that kind of clicks sometimes. Got a floppy drive right here. We've got looks like an empty expansion slot if you wanted to add something in. We've got the 81110 branding, integrated speakers, which are actually pretty decent considering the time, and these are the grill holes for them, also I guess ventilation. 2 buttons, which I actually have no idea what they do, believe it or not. Let's take it around to the side. We've got a whole lot of nothing. And then if we take it around to the back, we've got some of the branding. So we've got Radius System 100, Radius Incorporated, Sunnyvale, California. FCC crap. If we move over here, we see a Mac OS logo, signifying that this is indeed certified to run Mac OS. We've got our power input here, and I guess from what I've been told, this is our power pass-through. So on the back here, we've got a power button, which I don't think actually works over here. I think this is a printer port, and this would be the AAUI port, so if you wanted Ethernet, you could go through there. This is our display port, and then, okay, so this is an actual printer port, so I don't know what this does. We've got, looks like modem port, this would be the keyboard port. We've got audio out, audio in, and then I've got a couple expansion cards in here. It looks like another one of those serial type ports, and then this is actually a video card right here. So we have another display port here, and I'm actually not sure what that is. Looks like a male VGA, but can't be certain. We've got these random thumb screws that are spring loaded on the back. I don't know what these are for really. We've got a Kensington lock, and then if you come around to the other side, you've got a whole lot of nothing. Okay, so now that the side panel's off, you see what looks to be a pretty standard mess of 90s computer components in here, so I'm just going to tilt it on its sides. So, let's unscrew these for a second, because this machine actually came with something that I thought was really interesting. Now, I don't know a lot about these old school Macs. My knowledge of Macs is mostly from about the late 90s, early 2000s on, after Steve Jobs came back. So I found it really interesting that there were actually CPU upgrade cards sold, and this comes with one of them. This is a Crescendo G3 card, which I find very interesting. So here's the label, Sonnet Crescendo G3, what I believe to be 250 megahertz, 512K of cache, maybe, with a big, beautiful purple heatsink, and whatever connector this is. And then there's a video adapter kit ready connector on here, so you can connect a video card through it. Now, I don't have the software yet to run this card, so this is part 1 of possibly many parts on this machine. So the next part is going to be after I get an external floppy and I'm able to transfer software. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put this back in. So these cards are going to come out in a future part, and we're going to try and do a little bit of research on them. But these are, from what I can tell, not Apple cards. Here is some video memory attached directly to the video board. Then there's a kind of daughter card sitting on top of the video card that bridges these 2 cards together. This is kind of a Frankenstein mess, but I find it very interesting. And then back here is all the RAM. So this has been upgraded to its maxed 268 megabytes of RAM. We've got our scsi drive right here. Not sure on the capacity on that. We'll check when we boot it up in a second. The floppy drive, the CD-ROM, and then here's the power supply. Now, if I undo all of the back case screws, this whole motherboard actually slides out similar to what I've seen on the Power Mac 8100. It's very interesting that they still kept the slide out motherboard design, made it really easy to access and work with, but in a future video we'll take this apart again, because I already had to take it apart once to reseat all the cards and everything because some of them kind of got knocked out in shipment. So I'm not ready to do it again, but in a future part we'll open it up and we'll check out all the cards and everything. Oh, in addition to this beautiful machine, which by the way is in pretty good condition, all things considering, just some smudges and stuff that I can clean up later. I got some accessories that I've never actually owned before. So here's that DisplayPort to VGA connector. So this is just a passive adapter, and we'll talk more about that in a minute when I get it hooked up and everything. We've also got the Apple keyboard. So this is the Apple Keyboard 2, part number MO487. So this kind of broke a little bit in shipment, but I kind of got it back working. It's a pretty nice feeling keyboard. Apple keys, the kind of squished arrow key layout, which I don't like. It's also got a numpad, pass through for the mouse. This is a power button, and this is the ADB out, which has a nice stretchy cord, similar to a phone. And this goes into the back of the computer. So this is pretty interesting. And of course, if I can grab it, the one button ball mouse, which I think this is the ADB mouse 2. That's what it is. The single button connects through the right side of the keyboard into the pass-through. It's got a rainbow Apple logo. That's how you know it's pretty old. So we're gonna go ahead now and get this hooked up and booted up and see what all is on it. Spoiler alert, not a whole lot. That's why this is gonna be a two-parter video. So some things that I have to note. This adapter outputs sync on green video. So if you hook it up to a standard monitor, you're either not going to get any signal at all, or you're going to get a signal that's tinted a odd color like green or purple. So I tried with my old Dell Square monitor, didn't work. I don't have any CRTs anymore, sadly. From what I understand, that'll work with most CRTs. It turns out actually that my brand new HP monitor over here supports sync on green. So yeah, we're gonna do that now. Gonna get it hooked up, boot it up. All right, so now that I've got the keyboard hooked up, it's a bit of a stretch for this wire. We're gonna go ahead and power it on before my monitor switches the input again. It's got an Apple boot chime. Oops, looks like it went and switched the inputs on me. So right now I've got video hooked up to the video card that I showed in the back of the machine. So that's what's driving the video right now. And a Happy Mac, beautiful. So from what I've been informed from the original person I purchased this from is that if you use the internal video out, you actually get less sync on green issues. It's compatible with more monitors, but I actually wasn't able to get it to boot up from the internal video. I don't know why, but that's okay because this monitor apparently supports sync on green. You can see it switching from black and white to, I believe I have it set to millions of colors. We'll go and verify that in a second and play around with some various resolutions, but here it is, starting up off the SCSI drive. Booting Mac OS 8 right now. This system, I believe, originally shipped with System 7. Let me go snag another device to double check. Okay, so what I was able to find on low-end Mac is that this system originally required 7.5.1 and it goes up to OS 9.1. So no OS 10, but I think that was to be expected on a machine this old. But apparently it'll run up to 9.1, so that's interesting. I'll have to try that out. But now that the system's booted up, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna put all the focus on this. So, date and time is incorrect. I actually have yet to set it. So, let's see here. Let's go ahead and set it right now. Oh, okay. So I can't go through there. I turn on Platinum Sounds, I hope. Oh, really? I thought this was the version that I could... Nope. So we're gonna go date and time. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna set the current date to 2017. Show century. Yes, please show the century. 2017, and today is actually December 4th. Yep, December 4th, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a little closer in here so my arm doesn't fall off. One of the things I need to invest in is a tripod. And the current time is 12:23. So there we go. So we're hopefully gonna have some proper time. Oh, I am in the USA, and the closest to me would be Miami. Alright, so get some Mac OS 8 goodness. I'm gonna go to About This Computer, and you can see we've maxed out the memory at 264 megabytes. Mac OS is only using about 20 megabytes. That's amazing. If I go on my MacBook Pro right now, my kernel task alone is using 1.3 gigabytes. Safari is using about 350. Windows Server is using about 429. And meanwhile, this entire system runs on about 20 megs of memory. I think that's amazing. And as you can see here, we're running Mac OS 8.5. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to Apple System Profiler. Give it a minute to load up here. Okay, so like I said, I've installed the G3 chip, but it's not enabled through software. So I gotta remember how to use Mac OS 8. So running 8.5, 8.5 US, QuickTime is 3.0.2, Macintosh HD. Is it gonna give me, let's see, memory overview, disk cache 7 megs, built-in virtual memory. I'm trying to figure out, gotta try and find where I can find out disk size. But as you can see here, we've got the PowerPC 601 at 110 megahertz. So this is a PowerPC machine, so that's making it a little more capable. It's really interesting because it identifies itself as a Power Macintosh 8100 110. I think that's very interesting. So we've got a floating point unit built in. Let me see what else I can find. So we can go devices and volumes real quick. Okay, so there's a little bit of an oddity with this CD-ROM. So apparently the CD-ROM is kind of iffy on this version of the software. I have no idea why, but it detects it. Driver version not available, vendor Toshiba, media, blah, 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 blah. If we go to hard drive and we go to Macintosh HD, so it looks like we've got a gig. Yeah, it looks like we've got a gig, an entire gigabyte. Isn't that amazing? Go over. Oof. That's platinum sounds, by the way. So we've got 530 megabytes available, and it's formatted using macOS standard HFS. Display. Actually, speaking of display, let's see if I can't set this display resolution a little higher. So we're gonna go to monitors and sound real quick, because that might actually help a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to attempt to do other/multi-frequency. I don't know why it's not letting me set the resolution any higher. I wonder why it's not letting me do that. What if I set it to 256 colors? Does it let me go any higher with the resolution? Oh god, here we go. Yeah, now this is classic. So it's a little faster, but nobody wants to play around with. Nobody wants to play around with that. We want millions of colors. So I wonder why it's actually not letting me set the resolution any higher. So this is what I'd say. This is probably about like 640, 480 maybe, somewhere around there. Apple Talk collection. This is also me discovering how to use Mac OS 8. So maybe there's a monitor option that I have. So current mode right now is that. Well, now we're getting that 80s look. Filter aspect ratio. It's gonna be a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know why it's not letting me set the resolution, but oh well. So let's go back to System Profiler then. So we're gonna now discover about the display. So 640 by 480. Resolution DPI 6969. So let's see, what can I find about this display card? So, here's some information. So this is a Radius Video Vision. Interesting. And the other new bus card is the Radius Telecast. Or maybe you know more about this system than I do, which is probably the case. Okay, so that's that. So there's really not all that much on this print desktop. Aw, that's sad. But there's really not all that much on this system, really. If I open up Macintosh HD, we're not seeing much. There's Dark Forces Large Install, whatever that is. So this looks to be like a... yes, I don't have the CD for it, of course. So I can't do anything. But there's an About System 7.5, which I find really interesting. So what's in utilities? Disk first aid, drive setup guide. No, that's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I'm looking for. Apple Extras, Apple Script, CPU Energy, macOS runtime for Java. It's interesting. Alright, so how about some Ultimate Doom, which actually fully works. I'm surprised by that. But yeah, this was preloaded by the guy for me on here. Doom requires that your main monitor be set to 256 colors. Would you like to reset it? Of course. So you're gonna see Doom's not the best performer on here, but it runs, and that's what matters. So we're gonna give it a second to load in everything. So this is now officially the oldest version of Doom I've played, I think. Maybe. So it's all well and good right here, but it's gonna load a demo real quick, and you'll see Doom performance is pretty abysmal. So let me set the screen size down a little bit to about right there. Yeah, screen size is kind of bad on here. Okay, apparently. Let's see, do I have a... Oh, I don't. Okay, that's interesting. So let's go to new game. Beautiful. So it only supports mouse for shooting. Looks like it uses some unknown key combination to move. Oh yeah, that's right, it uses the numpad. I tried this before. So it uses some weird combination of the numpad. If you are holding forward and you move and you hit left or right, you actually strafe. But yeah, this is basically slideshow material. I think you still use space to interact, maybe. Yep, no clue how to shoot. Alright, let's get out of this. Oh yeah, that's right. New game, press 1, yes. Let's go back to DOS. I don't want to let me escape. Alright, let's do Command Q. You know, next time you come in here, I'm going to toast you. Heard. So you need to reset your monitors. Sure. Wow, what a convenience. Alright, so that's going to go ahead and conclude my overview of the pretty beautiful Radius system. Now, my final thoughts is that, first of all, I already know I got a hell of a deal on this machine. I'm not going to disclose exact information, but considering that I'm having a hard time finding any auction details on eBay or anything, I'm having a hard time finding even like general prices within the past few years, and even some of the accessories that come with it, like the video card or like the Sonnet card, for example. I found one outrageously expensive price on eBay, but I already know I got like a hell of a deal on this, and I'm very happy to be the proud owner of a classic Macintosh, but at least one capable of natively running the system and natively running Mac apps and has a PowerPC processor and all that. This is actually going to be now my second PowerPC Mac because this one arrived first, so this is going to get its own video. So with that, part 2 will be when I'm able to load some more software on it and maybe run through the G3 upgrade card and see how Doom runs on a G3 instead. So we're going to conclude this by shutting down this beautiful machine. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and next time, like I said, we'll be putting software on it.